Yeah. Look, these hoes, they just want me for my chicken fingers, my chicken tenders. Look, pull up in something silly. You can clearly see my willy through my tight pants. Call me Daniel Way, I roll up in a white van. Look, I got candy to lure the kids into my white van, then I give them the D. I'm a predator, I'm a man with a plan. I just took 18 Xans. Let me stop. I don't do any of that stuff. I just, you know, you gotta say this wild stuff in the opening freestyle so it grabs people's attention, hooks them in. Higher retention rate, more views, more money in daddy's pockets. More money in daddy's pockets allows daddy to purchase different items, doodads, and jewels to impress the hoes. So that's sort of the plan. That's sort of the reasoning. Okay? So don't judge a book by its cover. Whenever I get messages or questions on Instagram or by email, there's usually there's like a good amount of them that are people like, these videos are too depressing. You don't offer any solutions. You're telling people to give up. It's doomerish. And I just wanted to address all these in one fell swoop, because these people clearly misunderstand my message. Here's the deal. The first step to solving a problem is completely mapping out the problem. That's how you do it. You can't win a chess game if you don't know your situation, if you don't know, oh, he's threatening my queen, he's doing the old gambit or whatever. I don't play chess. You can't, you gotta know your situation to solve it, you idiot. So these people misunderstand my message because it's like, here's the deal, I'm saying all these things that might depress you or might make you nervous. But the conclusion, or at least my conclusion, my message is not to give up because of these things. It's that as a young man, which I would imagine is a lot of my audience, but I mean even young women or just young people in general, whatever. As a person, you should feel pressure now, because I don't think because I mean, a lot of what I talk about is I don't think things are okay. And I don't think things are getting better. I think they're getting worse. And I would make the claim, if you don't agree with that, then you're just not perceptive enough. But the natural conclusion is not to give up and just wait for the downfall. It's that you need to be on your shit more than ever. You need to be more focused than ever. There are many different ways of responding to becoming, you know, to learning about all these things. You could become disheartened. And you know, one of the common things is you go all deep into self-improvement, grind set, and there, you know, part of it is kind of cringe, I admit. It's like you got to do all this shit. It's like a coping mechanism, sure. But it's the most healthy mechanism you have, because you can't just lay down and wait for all of these things to happen. You know? You should feel pressure. I feel pressure. I can't just keep on doing what I have to do. I don't think that there's not just a safety net waiting for me. I can't just go through life and have things work like certain generations had that happen, you know? Things are different. Here's the real problem, is that modern society, you know, I talk about all these things, loneliness, atomization, feeling disconnected, whatever. The problem is that modern society offers a perfect scapegoat for all of these things. You can be lonely and still be comfortable. You have video games. You have YouTube. You have all these shows. You have OnlyFans and, Yank films. You have... You don't need a wife to cook for you anymore. You have DoorDash. People can bring groceries to your house. You have little microwave meals. Just pop them in. You don't need a family unit anymore. All of these things allow you to be atomized and still be comfortable, and still dull you, and still not really have you feel the full brunt of what your situation truly is. And that's the real problem. Because as you indulge in all of these things, reality will catch up to you. Naturally, it will. But also, I think that I think that soon enough, you won't be able to just keep on cruising and live this comfortable life anymore. Soon enough, unless you have rich parents or something, you're not, maybe not. Maybe that's going to be accounted for too in some ways, and you can always live in this comfortability. There are different ways it could play out, but the way it's looking, with inflation and all this stuff, you're not going to be able to support this constant coping lifestyle anymore. You're not even going to be able to have these basic things. But by then it'll be too late. The only reason there hasn't been a revolution yet is because in society now there is a perfect... You can have all these problems and still be comfortable. Previously, you couldn't. If you didn't have a family before the internet, before all this stuff, if you didn't have a social circle, you couldn't really live, It was much harder because you had to go do all of this shit actually yourself. Now we have all these ways to make it much, much easier. So that's one thing. You can just sit down and do nothing. And I've talked about this on the channel before. Like, the concept of giving up or ending your own life. If I wanted to end my own life, right, I wouldn't just, use a gun or a rope or something like that. The way most people do it is indirectly, through escapism, through drugs, through constant coping, serious addictions, alcohol. And to a lesser scale, similar things can be said about the things I talked about with the constant consuming. Constant consuming. That is what has allowed society to keep on trekking along, even though most of these people really have nothing of substance to live for. And the thing is, I talk about all these problems, yada yada, but it seems like a lot of guys they say they're not happy with their situation, but they kind of are, because they're not doing anything to really change it. Because they're comfortable. Because you can be comfortable. Constant comfort is offered you. Constant instant gratification. You don't have to get up and really try. But I think if you keep on living that way, there will be a rude awakening. And when I talk about my doomeristic predictions for society, which you may or may not agree with, my message is not to just lay down and wait for it to happen. My message is that because of these things, it is all the more reason to start. You have to optimize every part of your life. You have to feel pressure, feel energy. You have no time to be depressed, lazy, nervous, doubting yourself. You have to walk with purpose and know what you want out of life. Have clarity. And these are general things that I'm saying. And when it comes to guiding you to like how to find your purpose or whatever, I can't do that. It's like I'm not your dad. When people ask for these solutions, it's like, how can I give you a solution when everybody's situation is different? You live in different areas. You have different genetic predispositions, different aptitudes, different living situations. Go to the gym. Maybe you should go to the gym, or maybe you already have enough muscles. Maybe your real problem is social connection, in which case, if you have time you would dedicate to the gym, maybe I would suggest doing a sport instead. The same principle is there. It's exercising, but I mean, that's just one example. Like, you have to use your head, you know? It's good to find these mentors on the internet, which I don't think I am, you know? I'm just trying to relate and document so people can relate to me and feel less alone. And I just want to entertain people, generally. But even guys like Hamza or whatever, it's not bad to make a mentor out of these people, but they don't know everything. And even they are constantly going through changes and metamorphizing or whatever. This online guruism, there's definitely something toxic to it because they don't have the answers for you. You have to use your own head to think about shit for you. Like, these people aren't your father. It's good that they're motivating you and you can learn valuable lessons and they can become a mentor figure. It's better than nothing, but they are not your dad. Sorry, I clear my throat so much. That's genetic. I can't help it. My grandfather and mother do the same thing. I actually can't do anything about it. There's a bunch of crap like constantly in my throat. So, it's pretty whack, honestly. What else was I talking about? Yeah, you can... These people act like they're so dissatisfied with being lonely or they're so depressed from all these things. It's like, I don't know, I feel like you're pretty comfortable. You're pretty comfortable because, I don't know, it's tough. And even when I say things, I'm not giving up, okay? I think there are a whole lot of problems. You know, getting in a relationship, starting a relationship is very hard nowadays. You can try all this trad stuff. I guess that's your best bet. But modernity infects everything. You are under different laws. You're in a different time. You were raised with different technology. And I know there might be some like guys in their 40s who have had relationships. They've tried to do all this stuff. It didn't work. MGTOW type guys who are like, you know, this kid doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, I've tried all this and it didn't work. I am giving up. And I think they're right to think that. Your personal experience, no one can take that from you. And if you draw these conclusions with certainty, then that's good. Who am I? I'm a child. I am a child and I'm just figuring out lives. And I think that's what's good about these videos. This is not an echo chamber where I'm just like saying shit you want to hear or just feeding you all of the answers. This is just a young guy who turns on a camera someone who, I guess the only thing I have is I'm observant of what's going on, and I try to be brutally honest. And I try to say the things that, you know, people won't say to cut at something deeper. Just say my thoughts completely unadulterated. Yup. Have a good one.